I was thinking too, it's like yesterday we were talking about the new Studio Ghibli movie, The Boy and the Heron, and how the movie is like all this random stuff, like a dream you would have if you have a fever, and it's just all thrown together, and then you could make any interpretation about it, say like, oh, it's referencing art history, or it's referencing the boy's relationship to his mom and his new place he has to live in. It's like that's what the weird dreams are about, or this dream world that he goes in that doesn't make sense. You can come up with any idea because they're just stuff, and then your symbolism is then taken out of that, and because it's like not a direct idea, like there's so many just random things there, you can just decide whatever you want based on it, and then it is not really that helpful for communicating. I don't think this was what I was going to say, but it's not really that helpful for communicating, like, what is a billionaire? It's like, well, what is this showing me? Because everyone has a different idea because there's no concrete.
Right. It is one of those stories, just like a lot of stories are, where there's nothing really to take away from it unless it randomly happens to hit the person a certain way in some certain very specific way. Like, just something from it sticks. But you're never going, from a story that, unless it's really well put together, or at least makes sense on very grounded levels, it's never going to stand the test of time and be something where we say terms like down the rabbit hole for a reason. Because if we didn't have that term, we would have to come up with something else, or somewhere along the way somebody would be like, how do I explain that when I watch a video on YouTube, then I start following all these links and I go down a rabbit hole? what do we say instead of that? And because a story had this clear symbolic thing of you're falling down a rabbit hole, now you're in this, just where the heck did I go? Like, there's such a distinct moment, a distinct event in that story that is just so clearly definable as like falling down the rabbit hole. Like, it's just such a distinct thing that it can spread. And when you have a story that's just like a bunch of random stuff slapped together and the whole thing's kind of a fever dream, or it doesn't really have distinct moments that are like, this is what the story, like the kickoff of the story, or the finale of the story, or like the key moment of the story that it's all built around. There's like nothing there for people to, as a collective, to grasp onto and be like, I get what you mean, because it's purely what each person got what they mean. It's going to be something different for everybody, so it doesn't mean anything to everybody. Then the fiction kind of lost its purpose, and it can't do the symbol that would then transform people in the world. Like, it loses the potency of what a fantasy could be.
And that's saying that, Alice in Wonderland was a symbol for getting lost in a mess of things, and it was only that symbol because there was like a clear definition of not being lost and then being lost. And when things just kind of
are happening,
there.
The red pill or the blue pill.
So it can't be a symbol for clarity, and it can't be a symbol for being not clarity, because it's just none of it.
Yeah, like people say, Inception now, and it's like, oh, I got a chocolateception. I ate one chocolate, and I ate another chocolate, and I was eating chocolates inside of chocolates, and putting chocolate with my chocolate. It's chocolateception. Like, you can say that now because it was such a distinct movie. Like, what is this representing? Who knows what the message was behind it, or the theme of it, or anything, but it's just like cool idea that, dream within a dream is just this one concept, and it's a story done well enough that it kind of sticks and can go through the culture, and it gives us a word that otherwise we would have to have some kind of defining word, because it's like slightly different than going down a rabbit hole. It's like going one thing, going into another thing, and all this stuff. So we'd have to come up with a term for it, and then have to start using that term, and then somehow we'd have to get popular. But instead, the fiction, fantasy, story makeup of the world, of a culture, is the thing that allows us to have the symbolism so we could speak about things in ways that we used to not be able to speak about.